Well, I just want to kind of make this call interactive today to find out what everybody's thoughts are on social media, whether they're positive or negative, what they feel they're getting out of it, and how it relates to their real estate business. So, and how much time we're pretty much spending on it each and every day. I mean, it's kind of a crazy thing, the social media, AI, Chat GPT, whatever it's called. This morning I was on TikTok about, I don't know, 5 o'clock this morning, and I'm watching this thing. Apparently now you can have a girlfriend, a serious girlfriend, an AI girlfriend, okay, that you can come home and talk to, and it'll remember what you had for dinner last night and have conversations with this person. So
Watch out, Regina.
there's no reason for anybody to be lonely anymore because you can literally have a chat IT partner, girlfriend, friend. It's unbelievable what you can do with this technology these days. But the question really is how much do you want to do with it? There's the old school method, which we've always been a proponent of, which would be the Brian Buffini, the Mike Ferry system, where you're talking to people, you're writing handwritten notes, you're popping by visiting your past clients, you're having social events, you're seeing people, talking to people, and you're going to get lots of business that way. The new skill, or a lot of the I would say the younger agents in the industry today are more into the social media and the videos and those type of things, and some of them actually relate to real estate, and some of them just relate to life, but they're being noticed. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to find out and discover is what is it that your people that are really into social media, what is it that you're looking to get out of it, and how much time are you spending with it? And I know Morgan does a lot with social media as well as the Brian Buffini system and social events and being parts of all kinds of things, but it's a portion of her business. So Morgan, what are you looking to get out of social media? Is it more brand recognition with you, uh, or are you looking for people to um, call you about the listing you posted? What are you looking for?
I use social media just as a way to touch people. So I don't look for business, although business comes from my social media. I use social media as a way to just do another touch. So it's like the same as you would do phone calls, the same as you would do postcards, the same as you would do a handwritten note to somebody. It's just one more way, and it's an easy way to touch thousands of people in seconds. And I do get a lot of leads from Facebook or Instagram. I'm an anti TikTok person, so don't talk to me about TikTok. But um, Instagram is like the same thing as TikTok with the reels and everything. And I just like to share parts of my life. And it's just ways for I run into people that I haven't seen in years, and they'll say, like, oh my gosh, your bond with your son is just so cute. I love it. Or, oh my gosh, your son plays so many sports. Like, how do you juggle all of that? Or, you're really busy and all of these things. And there are people that, like, I'm like, I haven't seen you in years. And so they still know, like, everything that's going on in my life. That could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. Some people like it. Some people don't. For me, I've always kind of shied more towards my everyday life versus what real estate I'm doing. I mix in real estate. I used to post a lot more real estate. I used to do every like listing and every sale I did and everything that way. And I just feel like that kind of bogs. Nobody really wants to see that all the time. And I think it's more about telling a story or connecting with your people. So like if I have a sale that is, super unique, like I help somebody that, maybe had to go through cleaning out an estate and all of that, I may post about that. If we've had, like I just had one that was a cabin for a family, like I want to post that one then eventually. And I just mix in like what I'm doing every day. And I like stories because they're raw. They don't take a lot of editing and that kind of thing. It just people connect with you when you're a normal everyday person. And so the more it's staged and the more it's edited, I think it actually is a negative on Facebook, because when you're going through there and you see a realtor in our area that has this perfectly put together video and you're like, I've literally never heard of that person, but on mine they look like they're the best in the area. And those people, that's what they're just doing. They're just doing social media to do it as an influencer. So there's just, I don't know. I think the raw and connecting with people, I love to see other people's stories. I like to see what people are up to. It feels like you're connecting with them. But you also, if you don't love social media, it's actually probably better for somebody that doesn't love it, because you can really schedule it into your day and you're not going to get addicted to it or suck you in. Where if you don't love it, you can post a little bit and move on. It takes a couple minutes to post something you're doing or something you're, up to.
So would you say you spend 15 minutes a day on creating a post for, like, for instance, I think it was either last night or this morning, I saw one of your posts and I thought it was really cool. It was you had a cup of coffee and you were kind of looking out the window and you were saying, I think it was something about waiting for spring or something like that. But then at the end of the video, it showed your brand, your coffee cup, and Morgan Tressler, that type of thing. I don't know if you have it handy. You could show the cup. I don't know if
No, I'm using, Matt Hockley got me a cup that says, pour yourself a big old cup of note. And that's what I have this morning.
But I think that's a perfect example of how you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, yesterday I was just like, I was sick of sitting at my desk. I had a lot of paperwork to do. And this is truly how stuff comes about for me. And I actually I'm trying to remind myself more, because I'm really bad at remembering to take the video or take the shot. But I got up, I made myself a cup of coffee. And I was while I was making it, I was talking on the phone and I was staring out the window and the sun was shining. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful out. So when I grabbed my cup of coffee, I took a 3-second video of my cup in front of our pool that's closed. And then I put it on my story and I said, waiting for the pool to be open with cold drinks. That's right. And it had my hot coffee with my logo on my mug. And literally that was just it took me probably 2 seconds, whatever it takes to snap a video and say, and type the words on it. It was done. And I was back to my desk working. So by the time my coffee was, just made and that kind of thing. But, and I've been trying more and more to just, you don't have to go out, and if you don't drink coffee, you don't make coffee and do a picture and do all that kind of thing. Because I think that's where people with social media get bogged down with it. It's what you do every day. And I love to cook for my family and I love to do stuff around my house. So I try to I have a ton of video in my phone. Editing, it's a whole nother thing that my 10-year-old is enjoying doing. So that's a whole nother thing. But doing quick videos while you're actually doing something, you can upload those to your story while you're doing it. If you're last year I was taking the hoses off the hose bibs outside, and I just shot a couple videos of it so that I could put it on and say, hey, don't forget to take your hose bibs off. It's going to freeze soon. Or I had my carpets shampooed on one of our calls the other week. I took some videos of it while he was doing it, just took some snapshots. And then I put a video on of refreshing my home and getting the carpets cleaned. I think this morning my one went from Sunday. I was making, I had an event at our house on Saturday that had the coffee. I had coffee ordered, and they sent me a quart of half and half for every container of coffee I ordered. So I had 4. So I had 4 quarts of half and half. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do with this? Travis's dad was like, hey, I have seafood. Will you make seafood bisque? I was like, heck yeah. I took a video while I made the seafood bisque. I think it went live today. I think I scheduled it this morning, so it might be out there. But I just post stuff as it happens, so that it's it's what I'm doing every day. I'm just taking a couple extra seconds to video it while I'm doing it.
And I think years ago you went to a Tom Ferry seminar on videos and stuff with the Andersons down in Florida.
We saw that it was NAR, yeah.
Yeah. Was there is there a percentage that they recommend when you're doing social media, that if it's on your personal page, what percentage should be personal and which percentage you would slip in for business?
There's all kinds of opinions. So you'll see it all over the place, and you'll see different opinions by different types of people, because I would say probably most people, and I don't know what Tom Ferry's position is on this because he's pretty, but I would almost bet that he has a position of you shouldn't have, and I'm not this person, so don't look at me into this, but you shouldn't have a uh, business page and a personal page. You should just have one. And I still have my business page because there's some things that when you're connecting apps and that kind of stuff to feed out that it won't post to a personal page. But my page is an influencer page, my regular page. That's where you're going to see everything from it. My Instagram is only one. I wouldn't have two of those. That would be it's a lot to try to keep up with one, let alone multiple. And so you just I think I wouldn't look at like having a business page and looking at all that. If you already have it, fine, let it be there. But I would pick one page to do your stuff though, and not try to do it on multiple.
And as far as growing your friends list on it so more people see it, how do you determine, and do you spend any time looking to grow your friends list on it?
So I don't, and I'm not one of those people that like obsesses over how many friends I have and all that. I actually don't know, and I don't watch like how many views I get. Occasionally, my insights will pop up and it'll say like you had, so many thousand views on this, and I'll be like, wow. But I don't like obsess over that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people that do. But Joe Schutz and I actually had this conversation a few months ago about social media, and I think he converted his page to public. I think if he did that, I don't remember, but we talked about it. And it's like one of those things that if you go to your friends, people that want to be your friends, you're going to see every realtor, every mortgage lender, every insurance, like all these people that are just trying to like become friends with you. And Joe was like, well, I don't want to be friends with other realtors. Like, I don't want them seeing my stuff. But I kind of had that, like, mine's an open book and open, and like nobody's going to do it's kind of like in real estate, nobody's going to do the same thing you do. And so the more people that see it, if you watch, so like the algorithms change all the time, and I don't know the ins and outs of this, and it's not my expertise, but the more people that watch your stuff, the more it's going to be in front of other people. So it doesn't really matter. I don't care about being friends. I don't follow them back, like on Instagram. I don't follow other realtors because I don't really care what they're up to unless it's somebody that I actually want to like follow. But they can all follow me on Instagram. They can do all that. I have mine completely open that anyone can follow me. And I think the more people watch it, the more it ranks me higher and it gets in front of people. So I don't care if other realtors want to help me do that. That's fine with me.
Now, for the novices that are out there that are, let's just say, are just on Facebook and maybe have an Instagram account, is there a way that when you make a post, it goes to both accounts?
So Instagram and Facebook are owned by Meta, and they are the same company. So they're completely linked. You can post from Instagram to Facebook. If you're going to do that, learn Instagram, because Instagram has much better reels, which are short videos, and your stories. The edit feature in Instagram is much better, and the reels in Instagram are much better. So let them feed your Facebook. I wouldn't recommend doing it. I don't know if you can do it backwards, if you can post on Facebook backwards. I'm not sure. But I do know, like, if I make a reel and I download it and save it and try to upload it to Facebook, it's different. So just share from Instagram to Facebook. If you're just learning and just starting something, Instagram, your stories at the top are the little things of the tidbits of your day. So they're completely like, I'm going to pick on Joe Schutz again, because I think Joe is totally missing out on so much with social media. And I've been on him for probably 2 years now, a year and a half. I don't know he needs to post more because he has the name Joe. And he always is like a cup of Joe. He's got branded coffee mugs. So he has the simplest way to like make a name for himself out there. And he's working on it, but we haven't seen Joe's face in it. So he still hasn't got comfortable putting his face out there. So I think he needs to work on that. But literally Joe will post something he's doing, or, he sees something real estate related, or he'll post, like, if it's like, he did something with the flowers at his parents' house. He did something with like the band, I think, that he was in, some music playing, that kind of stuff. But then he also throws in like, hey, here's a tidbit of information I just heard on real estate, and here, what do you guys think of this? And that's where, like, I think it's the way to grow is to, you're not just like, hey, here's a house at 123 Apple Street. Like, people that are friends with you and your family members and all that, they don't really care about your listing because they're not looking to buy. You're not targeting people that are looking to buy. You're just connecting with them, but you want to sprinkle that real estate in there so that when Uncle Bob has somebody that says, hey, I want to sell my house, they say, oh, call Joe, because Joe does this. And then you'll find that people connect with you on the things that you like too. They'll be like, oh, Joe plays in a band. I saw him here and so you should call him. He sells real estate. And like, that's the whole point of social media, not to be like, I sell houses, call me, this sold today, I'm amazing, I like do all these great things in real estate. And then it's more like, hey, my son plays lacrosse, I'm out on the lacrosse field, I connect with other moms. And then, oh, by the way, it's time to service your furnace for spring or fall or whatever. And if you're looking for a realtor, pass my name along, it would mean a lot. And then like, again, like, oh, I'm cooking in my kitchen. Oh, I'm hanging by the pool, or I'm doing whatever. So it's just to connect. I think people get so caught up and they think that it has to be all business that it pushes. You're not going to get people to follow along on that. People are going to unfollow it. People aren't going to watch it, and they're going to scroll right past it.
Mr. Joe, not your average Joe.
Yeah, Morgan's giving me a beating this morning.
I love Joe. He has such an, I tell him this all the time.
So what's your goal, Joe, for social media now and in the future?
I'm perplexed by social media. Morgan has a way about her where she's free and just devil may care. She'll post every, and she's got a busy life with lots of things happening in it, and she's doing great with it. I am still hung up on some of the I don't know. I just am hung up about some things with it, and I'm trying to overcome my hangups. To answer your question, Tim, I am trying to be out there. I'm trying to grow my audience and ultimately have the same type of success that Morgan's having with it. But I got to get over my hangups. I don't know. I get freaked out by, some half-naked woman in a faraway place wanting to be friends with me. I don't know if you get these requests, but for some reason I do, and it freaks me out. And and so I'm like, I'm not going to be friends with that person. And Morgan's just like, oh yeah, we'll be friends, and I'm just like, and then
that's not true, actually. So I don't. That is a good point, though. I don't even think about that because I'm so used to it. Joe has a point. You're gonna get a ton of scammer people that try to friend request you. If I don't have friends in common with them that I know, I delete them. Like, it's just, I swipe them off. Followers on Instagram, yes, they can follow me because I don't screen. It's open to public. Facebook, if they friend request you and it's not somebody, I get so many friend requests a day that are no friends in common, one friend in common, and you'll start to learn the friend in common that accepts everybody, because you'll just be like, oh, I could name like 3 people right now, and there's some of them that are realtors. Mm-hmm. If they're friends with those people, I delete them immediately because I'm like, it's just another scammer. So like, that's true. You do have to watch that. And the other thing that Joe's saying is that you do have to just start doing it. I didn't just wake up one day and was like, oh, I'm so comfortable with this and I'm just going to post myself out there. You start out where you're deleting 100 photos or 100 videos before you actually like post it, but you just do it, and you have to do it, and you just get comfortable. And I think Joe's on that path. If you watch Joe, he's sporadic, he's in between, but he's getting comfortable, and it doesn't happen overnight. And the fact that Joe is doing it, I give a lot of credit to Joe, because I have been hard on Joe about it, because I think Joe thinks my life is busy because I'm posting, but Joe lives a busy life too. Joe does stuff. Joe goes to the gym. Joe has a daughter that just got married. He's got grandkids that he goes and sees. He plays in a band. He's taking care of his parents. He's doing all these things, but you don't know that unless you know Joe. But those types of things are all things that people can relate to.
Yeah, that's fair. It becomes like you got to figure out where the threshold is of keeping your life some things, some aspects in your life, personal or just being out there. And I'm trying to find that threshold. So that's a bit of a struggle. But another thing I want to say is, if you get people who want to communicate with you via what's it called, that phone app,
WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp. I don't do that either. Those are scams for sure. But so Tim, to answer your question, I'm trying to get more comfortable. I see that Morgan's having great success with it, and I'm trying to emulate what she's doing and just get over my hangups. So whatever.
You're doing a great job, Joe. I'm so proud of you. The first time you posted, it was amazing. So I'm so happy. And here's the thing, I'm always available to talk to somebody if they want to have ideas, because Joe doesn't have to post his whole personal life and do all of that. And I don't think anybody has to, and you can still have an impact. You can choose what you want to. If you follow your favorite influencer on Instagram, you may not even know if they have kids or not, or you may not even know what their husband looks like or their wife looks like, but it's because they choose to what they're going to post out there, and then they use that. And so I think, like, I tell Joe, really, he doesn't have to post anything about his family. He just has to post Joe's thoughts of the day, because Joe is such a straightforward guy. I'm like, if you woke up and had a cup of coffee in his hand that said a cup of Joe, and he like shot it to you straight for whatever it was that he was on his mind that morning, and he did that every morning for 3 seconds on Instagram on his story, people would flock to Joe. Because Joe, if you know Joe, Joe tells it like it is. And I think that's a great thing.
Thank you, Morgan. I appreciate that.
So has anybody ever thought about using social media to do what we're doing right now? Okay. To market yourself out there to buyers and sellers, to hold Zoom meetings, to educate buyers for buyer seminars, seller seminars, small seminars, those type of things. I mean, we can use social media to get more people to hold more meetings like this. Now, hopefully I'm explaining myself properly, but years ago, we used to hold buyer seminars, whether we've had some where we held it at the giant grocery store in Camp Hill on the second floor, and we had vendors there to talk to people. We've had them in the conference room. You've prepared food, brought people in. You might have had 5 or 6 couples show up to those type of meetings, and you'd have to stand up and talk, and a lot of people get nervous about standing up and talking. But these Zoom calls, I think people are a lot more comfortable looking at the screen and talking to people. So what I'm suggesting is maybe use social media, that if you're not calling for sale by owners and you're not calling expired listings and you're not finding buyers or sellers that want to list and sell because you don't have the right phone numbers, use your social media to create events that you can hold like this with a Zoom call and talk to people that you don't know and see if you can help them with their real estate needs or whatever needs they have. And you're going to have more meaningful conversations with them that at some point in time they might want to list or buy with you. Kong, have you thought about anything like that as far as using a Zoom call as part of social media? I know Neil Schwartz from the Mike Ferry organization holds Zoom calls live on Facebook every week.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone holds live on Facebook every week. Tony Robbins live on Facebook every week. But it doesn't necessarily have to be live on Facebook, but you could create the event to get people to want to come to it and then have a private call like this. What are your thoughts about that?
No, that's a good idea. I mean, people are always interested in learning, and when they see other people there, they want to be part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea.
Poppy, what's your thoughts on social media? You're the happy birthday king. I'm the happy.
Well, I'm sitting here and listening, and of course, being 90, this is way out of my league. but I'm fascinated by what everyone's saying. My question is there a way that you can track the part of the business, Morgan and Joe, from what you're doing social media wise? Is there anything that you can attribute it to those the business coming into you?
I think for me, I use Referral Maker from the Buffini program, and I track every single one of my clients where they come from. And a lot of them, it could be that like I went to high school with somebody or I went to college with somebody, but I track how they connected with me. So they'll connect with me through Facebook or Instagram through my messenger, or through like a DM. So they'll send me a message, and that's how the initial contact is. So then I keep track of it. And it's actually really high for me. But again, like it's the demographic. I would say it's more about, it's amazing to me how many people message me through Instagram and want to keep messaging me through Instagram. And I have to like pull them to a text message or a phone and get a phone call on the schedule with them. But they'll start the whole conversation from Facebook or Instagram.
I have been fortunate that one of the things I did is I joined on Facebook. I joined a couple of community groups, like, because I went to high school at Mechanicsburg. My folks live in Mechanicsburg. I grew up in Mechanicsburg. So I joined a couple of these groups, you're from Mechanicsburg if ... or, or just various groups. I live on the West Shore. I live in Carlisle or whatever. And these kind of groups and people who have or getting a transfer to this area will randomly post, hey, anybody know a good agent? And I am fortunate that I've got some organic publicity, because they're advocates for me and they put my name up there and I get business from that. I have gotten business from that, and I'm getting some business currently from that. And so that, and then like what Morgan says, I also use Referral Maker, and one of the things we put in there is how'd you find this customer, and at the end of the year or whenever you're tracking this stuff and you want to see where people are coming from, it is important to be out there because, it can be tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket, and all you got to do is just like be out there and
When you say be out there, Joe, is that and Morgan both, is that because you're out there, the people like you? All different from real estate, but that has something to do with the people that are referring back to you through these organizations say, hey, pretty nice guy. I watch him on Facebook. Is that the thing?
No, it's more like it's almost like a testimonial, like, oh, and then they'll give a brief testimonial as to how I helped them. And then fortunately, when my name is mentioned, if there's something pops up. I don't know how it works, but I mean, something pops up and you look at it and it's like, oh, your name was mentioned in this group. You go to it and you see that you're getting a positive testimonial from a past customer. And then you just type in there, hey, thanks. You reply, thanks for the love, Bob Smith. And then you reply to the person who's asking the questions. I'm here to help. Here's my contact information. If you want to meet up or you have questions, I'm happy to help.
And to follow up on what Joe's saying, if you want, so Poppy, to like put it in context also, I love gardening. I love having a garden in the spring. I love that. So I will gravitate towards a local group of gardeners, or like Joe's saying, like he went to Mechanicsburg, so he's part of a Mechanicsburg group. There's groups for different counties. There's school districts, sports groups, all of that. And if you want to be recognized and people to know you're there, you can add value to that group. So like I would say in the gardening group, I may say like, hey, started my spring seeds this month, or here's a tidbit. I love this soil, or Joe may like post in there like, hey, Mechanicsburg's playing in the championship tonight or whatever, and his name pops up. And then anybody that went to school with Joe or anybody that recognized me, they start to see you and they know that Joe's a realtor. So that anytime somebody posts in there and says, hey, I want to sell my house, or it works outside of the Facebook too. All those people see Joe like still being active, and then their neighbor wants to sell their house and they're like, call Joe because it's in front of them. It's the same way a postcard works. The postcard, you mail the same postcard for an HVAC company to you every day and your furnace breaks. It's the first top of the mind because you're like, you don't know if they're good or not, but they sent you a postcard every week for the last 2 years. So you might as well call them. And like, I think that's kind of what happens is it's the top of mind where people are like, oh, Morgan, oh, Joe, yeah, call them. They sell real estate. Oh, if you're looking for a realtor, it's the first person that pops up because they're in front of you.
Morgan, I got a question for you. You know, recently, Regina and I have seen some ads up in Potter County where agents will post a listing on one of those group sites like you and Joe are talking about. And then all of a sudden, the public just goes nuts on the listing and the price, and they'll never sell it and blah, blah, blah. How do you handle when you get in a situation like that? Do you take the post down?
No, never.
Respond to it?
No, I don't respond. Well, so there's some, it depends what they say. So, you know, most of the time, it's kind of like a negative review on your page.
Right.
You don't have to address, you can say to the person, hey, like, I'm happy to have a conversation. Let's chat about this if you're interested. But most of the time, everyone else in the group's going to eat them up. So like somebody will say something negative and then somebody else will be defensive about it because it'll be like their cousin's house and they'll be like, well, that's the price of real estate today. And then people will start going this down. It doesn't affect your house. It doesn't actually, it gets the house being shown and around. So there's one right now, if you want to see exactly what Tim's talking about, if you're in the, I think it's a Central PA real estate group, or it might even be Perry County real estate as well. Taryn Beck has a listing that is just built in like Millerstown area. It's a $700,000 listing. It is a very modern looking house built by a builder that took a leap of faith, built a very unique looking home. And it is nothing like if you picture a Perry County house, it's nothing you do. He took a risk to do this. It's a very cool looking house, has a very modern feel to it. People underneath of that are ripping it apart because it's $700,000 in Perry County. It looks, you know, somebody said it looks like boxes, or somebody said this and that. But like at the end of the day, those people are just I mean, it's the same thing that troll people online. I would never take a post down unless somebody was like, I would delete somebody's post if it was like inappropriate or something like that. But I would I know there's a lot of realtors that commented on it. There's a lot of other people that commented on it and said about the finishes. People people worked it out themselves and just talked and defended it. And we'll see what happens with our house. But I think that was a really risky thing for them to do. But it's just one of those things that, like, you let them go. Just let them be you're always going to have the person sitting in their mom's basement that's going to type on the post.
Yeah, Tim, those are just trolls, you know. Who cares? You know, it's like what they say, like, is there such a thing as bad publicity? I mean, people are talking about it. So, you know, and the ultimate, you know, FU is like, hey, we sold it in 2 weeks, you know, or whatever. And, you know, so it just goes to show you that you're right, they're wrong. You know, you're the professional, they're not. And I would just ignore it. You know, like what Morgan said, let them say what they want to say. It's just a public service announcement that if you're interested in something like this, it's out there. You don't have to respond to it. You know, just it's publicity and people are talking about it.
I'm aware of that house because I actually had a client bring me literally the same house to build, not with all the extensions on it, but the center section.
Yep.
On a narrow lot on the Conde de Guina.
Yeah.
We're in the process of developing plans on that. And I can tell you, I couldn't build that house that she has for that price.
I said the same thing. Yep.
My finishes would be a little different than what they had in that, but I could not build that house for 700 and some thousand. So when Regina and I look at this stuff in Potter County, which I didn't know if it was happening as much down here, you have a lot of people up there that are criticizing it, like Joe was saying, and they're trolls. Partially one, and I'm not being smart, but a lot of those people can't afford those higher end houses. And the people that are buying them are coming from out of state buying as it is more of a resort getaway second home for them. So it's the locals complaining, but the locals aren't the ones buying in those areas. But what they don't understand is the same people that are complaining are the ones that are not in the market to buy, and they don't understand what kind of market we're in and what real estate values are now as to where they were before. But so I was just curious how you would handle that, and it sounds like people are getting beat up on some of those ads around here too, and like just let it work itself out.
Yeah, I would let it work itself out. And like Joe said, the other thing that I've seen happen a lot is like, because those posts will be there and you'll see somebody comment like 2 weeks from now on it and it'll pop back up as like, because somebody just actively made it. And then you go on and you say like, unfortunately, this one already sold, but we have other ones, or this one's under contract, but we can get you another one. And the other thing is those people that are complaining about the prices, like you said, they can't afford it, but they're the first person that when they sell their house, they'll be the like right in line to take that price. Yeah. So as much as like it could be a negative when they're posting it right now, if they keep seeing that same agent sell these houses for high dollar, when they need to sell their house, they're going to call that agent because they're going to want that dollar too. And I would just keep posting. Like if I had an ad out there, I would definitely, and there was people negatively about it, I would make a post underneath of it, like a comment on it when it was done and say, just sold. Here's like, we'll have another one coming or something. Like I would say, this one is sold, but we'll have another one, or sold, or there's more here on this website. And I would just move it on just so that people see that, like, even though all these comments went back and forth, it sold.
Aaron, anything you want to contribute? You're young, a lot younger than most of us. What is your thoughts on social media these days? Because I know you're trying to put yourself out there a little more often now too.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think everybody has, what they want to do a little bit differently. It's really about just putting yourself out there. Like you guys have said before, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, hey, I'm in the business, but people remember that if they're constantly like, if you're like Morgan, like people want to watch her stuff because she's doing, fun things. Or I know Kara even posts some stuff too, like when they're doing events and stuff. So I do think it helps just to get your name out and to keep you active. So I do think it's a good idea to do that. But I also agree not to like consistently post like all your listings and work. Like it has to be a nice, level ground. So yeah, so that people want to look at it, because if you're just posting things that you sold or listing, people don't want to see that. They're bored.
Okay, good. Brooks, anything else to finish this up? I think we've had some great interaction today and some good perspectives from different people as to what they feel about social media. Anything, final thoughts you want to contribute?
No, I thought it was a good call.
Okay. Poppy, any final thoughts?
This is only my own idea, but after I heard this conversation today, and I'm a neophyte at it, I would be out doing videos of testimonials and putting them up on Facebook or wherever, of people that are satisfied with what you've done. For me, it would be a heck of a way to start your Facebook page or whatever you call it for your personal page for yourself. Hold yourself out there.
That's a good idea, Poppy. I know a lot of times people post the written ones, but a small video of you having a conversation with your client
Absolutely.
after settlement and them being excited about the job that you did. And it doesn't have to be long. Morgan, what would the length of something like that be? 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute?
No, way shorter than that. You want the shortest video is the best. So if you do get like a testimonial from somebody and have it on a video, break it up. Like do like a short piece of it today, and then like next week post another short piece of it. The shorter the better for people to watch it.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you for your participation. Aaron, anything else on reference to the awards luncheon coming up soon?
Yes. So I will probably be calling you today if you have not RSVP'd to me. So if you have not, expect a call for me or just shoot me an email and let me know that you will be coming. It is next Wednesday, the 5th. I don't have the next date, but yeah, so it's the 5th. Starts at 11:30 at the country club. So it's always a fun time. So make sure you get out there.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.